In the silent chambers of your heart, do you not feel it? An ancient, cosmic ache, a deep yearning for a love that feels like coming home, a connection so profound it promises to make sense of this chaotic existence. We are all born with this divine blueprint, etched upon our souls the memory of unity, of a love that is eternal and unconditional. And so, we spend our lives searching for its reflection in the eyes of another, believing that in finding that perfect love, we will finally find ourselves, that we will finally be whole. But what happens when that search leads you to the edge of a vast, silent ocean? What happens when you scream the name of your beloved into the waves, and the only reply is the echo of your own longing? This is the great paradox of the human heart, the sacred wound from which all growth springs. It is the beginning of a profound spiritual awakening. If you have ever felt this sting of solitude in the midst of your deepest connections, if you have ever questioned the very nature of desire, know that you are not alone. Your journey is a sacred one. Acknowledge this resonance within you by liking this message, subscribing for more guidance, and sharing your own story in the comments below. Let the universe hear your voice. Type, "I am a rebel," if you are ready to love with open eyes. We are spiritual beings navigating a physical reality, and in this dance of existence, we search for a love that can anchor our souls. We seek a love that means something eternal, a love that lasts beyond the fleeting moments, a love that truly matters in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. Yet, in this noble quest, we inevitably collide with a brutal, unyielding truth. The universe, in its magnificent and silent expanse, is indifferent to our personal dramas. Romance, marriage, passion. These are not etched into the fabric of the stars. None of it is written into the fundamental laws of existence. There is no cosmic guarantee for our happily ever after. This realization can be devastating. It can feel like a betrayal, not by a person, but by life itself. The truth is, we are the divine artists of our own lives. We are the ones who invent the meaning. We are the ones who paint purpose onto the blank canvas of our days. And yet, despite the silence of the cosmos, despite the heartbreaks and the disillusionments, we continue to love. Have you ever paused to ask yourself why? Why do we persist in this seemingly futile quest? The answer lies in the very nature of our spirit. We love because love is the soul's most powerful rebellion against the illusion of meaninglessness. It is the most human, most divine act of defiance in the face of the void. The philosophy of the absurd, as brought forth by souls like Camus, begins with this simple yet world-shattering observation. Life has no inherent pre-packaged meaning handed down from on high. The stars do not care if you marry or if you part. Time will not pause for your deepest heartbreak. Death, the great equalizer, comes for every love story, without exception. This is not a cause for despair, but a call to awakening. For here lies the sacred paradox. We crave love precisely because the universe is silent. The more the world outside seems to lack a clear purpose, the more desperately our souls seek to create that purpose through connection. The more fleeting and transient life reveals itself to be, the harder we cling to the fire of passion. The more love seems to betray us, the more we romanticize its potential. This is the divine tension of the absurd. We stand at the precipice of a silent infinity and demand that love give us what existence itself refuses: permanence, ultimate purpose, a transcendence over our mortal coils. And when our human relationships, fragile as they are, fail to bear the weight of these cosmic demands, we call it tragedy. But an awakened soul would call it something else: the inevitable and ultimately freeing result of expecting the universe to answer a question that it is simply mirroring back to us. It is asking us to be the source of the love and meaning we seek. In our modern world, this sacred tension has been amplified and distorted into a matrix of manufactured desire. a place where the soul's quest for connection is channeled into systems that often lead to deeper separation. Let us first examine the great illusion of choice. Modern dating, especially through digital applications, sells a dangerous fantasy of infinite options, an endless marketplace of souls. Swipe, match, discard. It promises a world of limitless potential partners, a system designed to find you, the one. Yet, study after study confirms a spiritual truth. The more choices the ego is given, the less satisfaction the soul experiences. This is the paradox of choice. The more we search for the one perfect person who can fulfill all our cosmic expectations, the more we realize that no single mortal being can possibly bear the weight of that divine projection. We are not meant to find a person who completes us. We are meant to become whole ourselves and share that wholeness with another. This endless search keeps us in a state of perpetual dissatisfaction, always wondering if someone better is just one more swipe away, preventing us from ever truly choosing and committing to the love that stands before us. Then, there is the performance of the ego. Our digital society, with its curated feeds and polished profiles, has turned romance into a public performance. We are no longer simply falling in love. We are staging it for an audience. We meticulously craft our narratives, filtering our reality to present a flawless highlight reel of our connection. We perform happiness. We stage intimacy. Couples don't just experience love. They broadcast a brand of it. But behind the filters, behind the carefully chosen captions, and the envy-inducing vacation photos, the profound truth of the absurd remains. No amount of likes can make a love permanent. No number of followers can fill the void of a disconnected heart. This constant performance creates a chasm between our authentic self and the mask we present to the world. It lowers our vibration, making it impossible to attract a partner who resonates with our true soul frequency. We end up in relationships not with another soul, but with another performance, another mask. And we wonder why it feels so empty. We wonder why, despite all the outward appearances of success, our souls remain untouched. This digital matrix inflicts a deep wound upon both the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies within us all. The divine feminine, historically conditioned to seek security and stability, now faces a cruel paradox. She is presented with an overwhelming avalanche of options, which, instead of empowering her, often paralyzes her. Her intuition, her sacred inner guidance system, becomes drowned out by the noise of the marketplace. The more options she has, the more she fears choosing wrong, leading to a state of chronic indecision and an inability to fully commit her heart. The divine masculine, in turn, is pushed into a relentless performance of strength, success, and perfection. He is conditioned to believe that his worth is tied to his ability to provide and protect, yet he is thrown into a hyper-competitive arena where he is judged in milliseconds and discarded just as quickly. The result is a generation caught in a state of profound hesitation. We hesitate to commit, not because we are cruel or uncaring, but because on a deep soul level, we understand a painful truth. This manufactured version of love, this illusion we are being sold, will not save us from life's inherent meaninglessness. It cannot. This entire cycle is the modern incarnation of the myth of Sisyphus. Camus saw Sisyphus, condemned to forever push a boulder up a hill, only to watch it roll back down, as the ultimate absurd hero. We too have become Sisyphean lovers. The boulder we push is not just a rock. It is the immense weight of our hopes, our dreams, our societal conditioning, and our demand for eternal love in a temporary world. Every new relationship begins with that surge of hope. This time, we tell ourselves, it will be different. This time, the boulder will stay at the top. We pour our energy, our vulnerability, and our very essence into the effort. Then comes the inevitable descent into despair, as the imperfections of human love cause the boulder to slip from our grasp and tumble back to the bottom. Why does it always end like this? We cry. And then, after a period of mourning, we begin again. We repeat the cycle. This is not accidental. It is by design of the matrix we live in. The joy we feel comes from the delusion that this love will finally last forever. The pain we feel comes from the inevitable awakening to the truth that it won't. The true tragedy, the spiritual lesson we are meant to learn, is not that love fails. It's that we keep expecting it not to. We keep demanding a guarantee from a universe that offers none. So where is the liberation? Where is the path out of this exhausting cycle? Camus offers a way out, but it is not through false hope. It is through divine rebellion. The awakened soul, the absurd hero, does not demand that love give his life meaning. He doesn't pretend heartbreak won't come. He doesn't curse the universe when it does. Instead, he loves with the full, conscious knowledge that it will end. He finds profound beauty in the temporary. He refuses to let the shadow of meaninglessness stop him from experiencing the light of connection. You must understand, this is not resignation. It is the ultimate liberation. When you stop asking love to be your salvation, when you release it from the impossible burden of making you whole, you finally begin to see it for what it truly is, a fleeting, fragile, and absolutely magnificent spark of the divine in the vast darkness. This is only the beginning of the awakening, for now we must expose the deeper programming that fuels this Sisyphean struggle, especially within the masculine experience. We will explore why men are so often conditioned to destroy themselves for an idealized love, and how the ancient wisdom of absurdism reveals the only true path to escape. The myth of Sisyphus is not truly about a man pushing a boulder. It is about a man who, for one breathtaking, unbearable moment at the very top of the hill, believes with all his heart that this time the boulder will stay. That is the true punishment. Not the labor, but the hope. Modern men know this torment intimately. They are the heirs of Sisyphus, condemned to repeat a cycle they cannot escape. Love, sacrifice, betrayal, repeat. The core of the absurdity is not that they suffer, but that they consciously choose to suffer again and again, convinced that with enough devotion, enough success, enough pain, they can finally force love to make sense, to give their life the ultimate justification. Consider the great figures of history, men like Hemingway, the writer who survived war wounds, plane crashes, and profound depression, but could not survive the institution of marriage. 4 times he stood at the altar, and 4 times he watched love curdle into something unrecognizable. His final act was to press a shotgun to his forehead and whisper a pet name for a woman who had left him years earlier. Camus would have understood this. This was not weakness, but the logical, tragic endpoint of a life spent demanding that love justify existence. Hemingway's tragedy was not that he loved too much, but that he expected love to save him. The universe does not offer salvation. It never has. This is not just poetry. It is a reality echoed in our very biology. A 2015 study in the journal Nature revealed that between 1% and 4% of children are unknowingly raised by men who are not their biological fathers. Generations of men have lived, fought, and died for families that were not, in the strictest genetic sense, theirs. Medieval Swedish law took this absurdity to its most extreme conclusion. If a wife committed adultery, her husband was legally forbidden from divorcing her. The punishment for betrayal was enforced loyalty. Can you see a clearer metaphor for the trap of modern relationships? Men are bound to a wheel of perpetual sacrifice, always pushing the boulder, always watching it roll back down. And now, dating apps have transformed this ancient torment into something cruelly efficient. The average man on these platforms will swipe right on hundreds of profiles before receiving a single match. When a conversation finally begins, he must perform a delicate, exhausting dance. Be interested but not desperate. Confident but not arrogant. Funny but not trying too hard. The slightest misstep means being cast back into the silent hell of the algorithm. This isn't dating. It's an absurd theater where the audience vanished long ago, leaving actors performing for empty seats. The system is rigged, but not in the way you think. It's not a conspiracy. It's a reflection of our collective consciousness. A 2022 MIT study found that on Tinder, the bottom 80% of men are competing for the attention of the bottom 22% of women, while the top 78% of women are all chasing the top 20% of men. The result is a brutal imbalance, where most men starve for connection, and most women are drowned in a deluge of low-quality attention. These are not mere preferences. They are systemic distortions, algorithmic funhouse mirrors that stretch our natural human desires into grotesque, painful shapes. Like Sisyphus watching his boulder grow heavier with each push, modern daters find the rules constantly changing, ensuring their effort never quite suffices. And social media compounds this madness, turning relationships into competitive spectacles. Instagram couples curate their happiness like museum exhibits, with golden hour kisses and choreographed laughter, while hiding the messy, necessary work of maintenance. The unspoken truth? A University of Toronto study found that these public displays of affection often peak during relationship crises, with social media post frequency increasing by 300% in the 6 weeks preceding a breakup. We proclaim our happiness loudest when we feel it least, shouting into platforms designed to echo our own lies back to us. The psychological toll is immense. Neurological research shows that dating app notifications trigger the same dopamine pathways as slot machine payouts. This intermittent reinforcement conditions users to crave validation in unpredictable, addictive bursts. Men and women alike develop swipe fatigue, a numbed state where potential soulmates blur together into disposable options. Women report choice paralysis, the inability to commit when endless alternatives glitter just one refresh away. Both outcomes serve the platforms perfectly, creating addicted users who generate revenue through their own despair. The ancient Greeks had the sirens, luring sailors to their doom with enchanting songs. We have the infinite scroll, luring us toward emotional shipwreck with promises of something better just beyond the next profile. In this digital dystopia, evolutionary biology collides with technology in ways that would make Camus sigh. The system thrives on our perpetual dissatisfaction. But his genius was recognizing that true rebellion begins with seeing the game for what it is. The absurd hero doesn't quit the apps in a rage. He uses them without letting them use him. He doesn't reject modern love. He engages with it, while refusing its false promises. This is the razor's edge walk of the rebel's love. It is about participating fully while knowing the system is rigged, loving passionately while expecting no salvation from it. The way forward isn't a regression to some mythical past where men were men and women were women. That world never existed. The solution is more radical. It is to build relationships that acknowledge their own inherent absurdity. It is to love knowing love won't save us. It is to commit understanding that all commitments in this realm are temporary. The most radical love story ever written appears not in poetry or film, but in oncology wards. Researchers studying terminal cancer patients found a curious pattern. Those who confronted their mortality head-on often forged relationships of shocking intensity and beauty. A nurse recounted one couple who met in hospice. She had 6 months to live. He had 8. They fell in love knowing their expiration dates, savoring each touch like thieves stealing diamonds. Their last argument wasn't about wasted years or unmet needs, but about who would die first and have to leave the other alone. This is love stripped of illusion, love that gazes unblinking into the abyss and still chooses to kiss. Camus would recognize it instantly. The only authentic connection is one that acknowledges its own ending at the very moment of its birth. Modern relationships crumble under the weight of impossible expectations. We demand our partners be our everything lover, therapist, cheerleader, muse, all while running from the truth that no one person can bear such burdens. The ancient Greeks understood this better than we do. Their concept of love was divided into precise categories: eros for passion, philia for friendship, agape for selfless giving. By compartmentalizing, they avoided the modern trap of seeking total fulfillment from a single person. Today, we've merged these needs into one impossible ideal, then wonder why our relationships buckle under the strain. The absurd hero does the opposite. He loves fully within limits, finding freedom in the very constraints others chafe against. The healthiest marriages often include phrases like, "If we're still together next year," spoken not from doubt, but from clear-eyed realism. They have achieved what Camus described in the myth of Sisyphus. There is no fate that cannot be surmounted by scorn. The rebel rejects both fairy tale permanence and cynical detachment. He chooses to love anyway. The French have a saying, "Tous les hommes sont mortels," all men are mortal. The rebel adds a corollary, "Tous les amours aussi," all loves are too. The freedom comes in choosing them anyway. Now, go love someone knowing it won't last. There is no more radical act. This is the final rebellion. To look directly into the void of modern romance and say, "I see you, and I choose this anyway. This will end. Let's make it beautiful."